to Dillinger Escape Plan, these were the greatest albums of 1999. The 90s was metal's most exciting decade, and as those epic years came to a close, they were still playing with gas left in the tank, so here are some landmark albums from 1999. When Napalm Death released the Scum album in 1987, many of the music press declared that in terms of extremity, music has reached its peak, and it was widely held view until September 28, 1999, when Dillinger Escape Plan rewrote the rules once more with Calculating Infinity. Mathcore was the sound of metal being twisted into startling new shapes, and a few did it better than DEP on their debut album, playing with the same scene that gave the world other such progressive metallic hardcore luminaries as Converge, Botch, and Poison the Well. The band increased their sonic extremities of the music even further, merging raw speed, just-tinged scattered short riffs, and broken electronic beats into a hardcore template. Even today, Calculating Infinity sounds truly thrilling, utterly unlike anything else. From the opening 2.5-minute breakneck visceral thrill of Sugar-Coated Sour to the title track's brooding semen but restricted instrumental. A transitional album, IX's Stormfront of prog and death never stopped, it being a work of imperious grandeur in its own light. Previous to this record, Emperor were the kind of band reserved for people who never got laid or men who had ball spots halfway down their back. Strange then that 20 years later that this album is viewed as by those in the know as being an important event, which distilled means this: without Emperor there would be no Opeth and dark metal would likely still be daft. This album was the first marker that extreme was evolving. Fred Durst was the prep prince of new metal, and this was his crowning glory. Taking $3 Pill, Yar's Abrasive Racket and Molly Coddling expanded it, Bizkit transformed into a juggernaut. The Dursterisms came thick and fast, our red-capping hero saying yeah, Babbitt instead of rapping, enlisting Method Man to take care of that on N2 Geffer now. To realise that I'm worth more than that is No Sex is Essentiality, Stacey's Mom by Fountains of Wayne, but 10 times better. Don't Go Off the Wondering got gorgeous strings courtesy of Borland's brother Scott, and the nasty full throttle riffing of Rick is a huge gem from the $3 bill, y'all. The hits still rule, even the guy in a Darkthrone hoodie knows break stuff, and the Jonathan Davis Scott Weiland guest spots on Nobody Like You have aged gloriously. This was the late 90s in 15 songs. Metallica went where no metal band had gone before and teamed up with a symphony orchestra for their take on the last night of the problems with anger issues, and inspired collaboration which lead even more stone and down drama to their most epic and enthralling songs. The Outone Law, Sad But True, and Bleeding Me sound phenomenal here, and new song No Leaf Clover is an absolute beast. Those privileged to see this recorded or witness the subsequent performances in Berlin, New York, and Las Vegas will never forget it. It's also a great album to prove that the point that anyone who claims that Metallica have nothing worth listening post-Black Album is an idiot. In fact, the band's fearless risk-taking and sense of adventure post-1991 arguably makes their second act all the more interesting, albeit their quality control nosedived significantly. Finding what heavy music was during the first half of the 90s, Korn had become genuine rock stars with all the excess and trappings that go with it. After Follow the Leader's incredible success, it was a tough spot for a band that had gained notoriety through their savage music and such bleak farces to now be sharing spots on the charts and magazine covers with Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys. Notoriously divisive and lukewarm received by their fanbase at the time, issues still proved that Korn could still be the downtuned, tormented, black-hearted band among their rising celebrity. The fourth album moved further away from their death metal roots and into a more progressive sound. It also showed evidence of Michael Ackerfeldt's mature skills as a composer and his band's increasingly powerful identity. It was the second time the band had gone for an overall concept, which they had first done a year earlier with My Arms, Your Hearse. It was also the start of an ongoing relationship with Travis Smith, who has done the artwork for every subsequent Opeth album. Suddenly, a program of future opened up in front of them. Rage Against the Machine's third studio album, The Battle of Los Angeles, came out in 1999. That means it's been over 20 years since we last heard new material from the band. Yet here we are still talking about them 2 decades later. What's even more impressive is how fresh, vital and relevant their music still sounds. And the Battle of Los Angeles was the moment where the quartet perfected their art. The first 3 songs, Testify, Guerrilla Radio and Calm Like a Bomb, in our particular absolutely unstoppable, whilst the recorded and as a whole serves as a lasting reminder of groundbreaking music Rage Against the Machine created. The Agile Metalers' third album was their confrontational peak. Over 20 years on, we need them more than ever, which makes their recently announced reunion all the more welcome. 9 men from Iowa gatecrashed the new metal party with their ferocious self-titled album. In retrospect, Slipknot's self-titled album was a major change in metal. Until then, the bands were still copying the fallout from grunge, and while the lightweight pop metal bands such as Korn, Bizkit and others were keeping hard rock alive and on permanent rotation on MTV, there was nothing outside of the underground to challenge the old guard of Slayer, Metallica and Megadeth. Nothing with any real substance. By this time, Slipknot was finished. Everyone else seemed a bit silly by comparison. So in the 90s, was a fresh wasteland, or was it? 2 years before Slayer came back, all guns blazing with God Hates Us All, Testament redefined their fresh fusion. Featuring the death metal luminaries of Steve DiGiorgio and James Murphy on bass and lead guitar, and none other than Dave Lombardo behind the kit. The gathering was a precision strike to the senses. Testament's 8th album forced those who wrote them off as a fresh metal relic to eat their words.